Today's episode is all about why you should get away from social media for enhanced athletic performance, why social media is causing a decline in your mental health, which can translate to a slowed reaction time, slowed decision-making ability, the comparison game, anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbances, which can all decrease your performance in your sport. Are you sick of feeling bad about yourself? Are you sick of seeing everyone else's perfect lives and feel like you don't measure up? Today's episode is going to link together the importance of incorporating boundaries around social media and quick tips to get you there without it totally disrupting your life. No more FOMO or feeling like a failure. Let your confidence and performance soar with today's episode. Do you wish you could look like you train as much as you do? Are you sick of scouring the internet for sports nutrition tips only to find information tailored to men? Do you wish there was a simple solution to fueling your body for your activity level? Are you ready to find freedom with food? It is possible to have balance between fueling your body for your sport and for enjoyment, and it's not as complicated as you may think. Can we say hello, food freedom? There's a way to have it all and eat your cake too, and I'm going to show you how. Hey, I'm Kristen, a former multi-sport athlete, a sports dietitian, personal trainer, and Jesus lover. In this podcast, you will find practical, sustainable fueling tips for female athletes that will set you free from diet culture, an ever-changing set of nutrition rules, under-fueling, and underperforming. You'll learn how to put together a fueling plan that works for you, that doesn't require all the rules, tracking every morsel of food you consume, letting food consume your every thought, with Jesus at the center of it all. If you're ready to find a sustainable nutrition plan that works for you with your active lifestyle and is tailored to your unique physiology, break free from diet culture, and finally feel comfortable in your own skin, this podcast is for you. Whip up that smoothie, lace up your shoes, and let's jump in. Can I let you in on a little secret? My secret is I kind of hate social media. Now hear me out. I like social media in the sense that I like to go on there and just look around at other people's pages from time to time, and it's kind of like just something that I can do when I don't really want to focus on anything and I just want a mental break. But at the same time, I don't like feeling like I have this pressure to post things on social media all the time and keep up with things on social media. And then I see other people posting things and it's only the good parts of their life. And I think, oh, wow, well, I'm not doing that in my life. Now I feel like a failure. And I start comparing myself to other people. And then I go on Instagram and I see pictures of people posting their six-pack abs and eating their perfectly clean plates of food, and they're working out 6 days a week, and I think, well, gosh, I don't have the time to do that, and I don't have six-pack abs. I feel so bad about myself. That's why I hate social media. And you probably should too, because social media, while it does have some upside to it, it has a lot of negative to it. And if you can get away from social media, I almost promise you it will enhance your athletic performance. So let me give you some quick statistics. Over 90% of teenagers in the United States report using social media with platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and 62% of teens say they use social media daily, and around 35% of them use it almost constantly. 35%! That's a high number. And the average screen time for teens is around 7 to 9 hours per day. I know sometimes I see on my phone like, oh, your time on your phone went up to 4 hours this past week, and I think, oh my gosh, I spent 4 hours on my phone every day. Now granted, some of that was using Google Maps or looking up a recipe and keeping my phone on while I was making the recipe or whatever, but still, that is a lot of time to be in front of my phone. So there are tons of research papers to show that there are higher rates of anxiety and depression if you are using social media a lot. So for example, in 2020, a study found that teens who spent more than 3 hours per day on social media actually had a 60% higher risk of developing mental health issues, and that includes feelings of loneliness and isolation. You can obviously feel distraction and intrusive thoughts, inability to maintain mental focus, and really just kind of screws up your ability to maintain throughout the day, but then also when you're performing during your sport. Also, if you are struggling with anxiety and depression, that's going to lead to decreased motivation and drive. So you're going to have a loss of interest just in things that you enjoy doing, but then certainly in your sport. And you're also going to feel tired more. There's going to be mental fatigue, but you can also have physical fatigue as well. Other physical symptoms that can affect your performance are just overall low energy availability throughout the day, tension and muscle tightness. I don't know about you, but if I get anxious, I feel very tense, and I actually wake up in the morning feeling like, wow, I slept really wrong and my neck hurts and now my back hurts, and I'm dealing with that for days at a time, which is just awful. You'll also have impaired decision making and reaction time. So that means if you're playing basketball, for example, you are going to have a slowed reaction time to when that ball is coming towards you, and a slowed ability to make quick decisions on where you should throw that ball. You're also going to have overthinking and hesitation, and that causes athletes to second guess themselves and hesitate during critical moments in competition, and that can negatively impact their performance. You're going to have an increased risk of burnout, so emotional exhaustion, and then withdrawal and isolation. You're going to have disrupted sleep patterns, so that can lead to insomnia and poor sleep quality, daytime fatigue. And I will tell you, if you are looking at your phone right before you go to sleep, or even the TV, when you get that blue light shining in your face, even if you turn it off to go to sleep, it's still, your brain has basically absorbed that, and it's going to affect your ability to either stay asleep or stay asleep. You're also, with anxiety and depression, going to have an increased sensitivity to pain. So you're going to have a lower pain tolerance and reduced resilience. So when you're working out or you're an athlete, that does cause some pain in your body, but you're also going to get that serotonin release, which is going to make you feel good, and that kind of counteracts that. But when you have a lower pain tolerance, you're not able to tolerate that pain from your workout as well, and so you're therefore not going to want to push yourself as hard. Also, you can get into negative self-talk and feel fear of failure. So I see this a lot with the teen females that I talk to, and not even just teens. It can be any age. It can be adult females, where you get into that comparison game where you're looking at your friend on the internet and you're like, oh, well, I don't look like that, or I didn't shoot that many points during my basketball game, or I didn't swim that fast, or I can't lift that much weight. And then you feel awful about yourself, and you're like, well, why do I even try? I should just give up now. And then you have those fear of making mistakes, like, oh my gosh, well, they had a perfect plate, and what they were eating, they eat so clean, they do everything so well. I don't really know what to do. And it's just overwhelming at times. And as you can imagine, that can lead to body image issues. And here's a fun fact for you. A survey by the Royal Society for Public Health in the UK found that 70% of young people felt worse about their body image after viewing social media posts. That's crazy. That's a crazy high amount. Now, the last thing that I'm going to say on the negative impacts of social media is cyberbullying and online harassment. You've probably seen it before. If you haven't, you might be living under a rock. I see it a lot, where people have these just negative comments that they feel like, oh, because I'm behind a computer or a phone screen, I can say whatever I want. And that really can make the original poster feel really bad about themselves. And roughly 59% of US teens have experienced some form of cyberbullying, with social media being the most common platform for harassment. And of course, those cyberbullying victims are more likely to report symptoms of anxiety, depression, and social withdrawal. So it's really not going to help you at all. And you may not experience cyberbullying, but of course, if you do, then it can cause all those negative things to happen to you. Now, there is a plus side to social media, and that is where people do report that they feel like they are more connected to people because they can talk to them more through social media. And people, like famous people, for example, are more accessible through social media. It's not like you have to go through somebody to go through somebody to go through somebody to get to that person. Plus, you can also get a lot of information off of social media, which can be a positive and a negative, because sometimes it's good information, a lot of times it's bad information, but nevertheless, you can get a lot of information. However, there are a lot of negatives associated with social media, and I really find this to be a problem with my clients that are struggling with disordered eating, and I think it's just a problem in general. So I think this is something that we can all work towards. So I have some tips for you that you can work on besides just completely getting off of social media and never getting back on ever again. Number one is to download this app called ClearSpace. I have used this app for a while now, and I really like it. It's basically an app where when you click on social media, you can actually pick whatever apps that you want. But let's just say you're going to click on Facebook to open that. ClearSpace will actually pop up, and it'll have this little circle that you have to kind of follow along with, like where you breathe in, you breathe out, and you have to do that 2 times, and then it'll show you a quote. And so it basically slows you down, and the whole thing probably takes maybe 30 seconds, but because we are living in an era of instant gratification, we think, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. Forget it. I just won't even get on Facebook, and you exit out of it. And that just, one, eliminates you getting on social media, period, at that point in time. But 2, it limits the time that you have on social media, so you can, once you actually do go through the whole exercise, you can say, I want to be on Facebook for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. And you can pick, and then it gives you 3 of those per day. So let's say you pick 10 minutes. Well, you only have 10 minutes 3 times a day. So now you have a max of 30 minutes that you're on Facebook. And if you try to get to Facebook through the browser, the app is smart and says, nope, you're restricted. You can't get on there. So it is just kind of like a good friend just looking over your shoulder, tapping you on the shoulder, saying, do you really want to do that? And you may not actually want to do that. The other thing that I found that worked for me with that app was, because I only had 10 minutes, I started scrolling through and I was like, okay, quick, I only have 10 minutes to look through all the things I want to look at. And I realized there's really nothing good on here. Why am I even wasting my 10 minutes? And oftentimes I didn't even fulfill the whole 10 minutes. Another thing that you could do aside from that ClearSpace app is to take a week break from social media. I've had many friends do this, and they feel so much better after taking that week break. They just feel more refreshed afterwards. You can also unfollow negative people and accounts. So people that are not contributing to your overall happiness and joy in your life. For example, if you are pulling up someone's account and they're always just showing you how good they look all the time, that doesn't make you feel good. So delete. You don't have to follow them anymore. And instead, follow people that are positive and uplifting. So people that are actually going to help you and bring joy to your life. The last thing is to actually just make plans to hang out with friends more in person, or simply just pick up the phone and talk to somebody. I guarantee you they would appreciate it just as much as you would appreciate being with them there in person rather than over the phone. So if you're looking for a way to quickly increase your happiness in life, your mental well-being, and also your performance in your sport, I highly encourage you to take some of these tips from today's episode. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.